I want to show you how I created a forest floor vivarium for one of the smallest turtles on the planet, Geomitis spangleri. I begin by blacking out the sides and back of this medium-low Exo Terra, which measures 24 by 18 by 12 inches. Before beginning to build the vivarium, I like to have a plan in mind, a clear picture of how I want this to look. Begin by adding the drainage layer. I'm using a mixture of pumice and horticultural charcoal. Now I'm adding some bioactive substrate. This mixture is nutrient-rich and well-draining. These turtles will enjoy soaking in shallow areas of water. I'll use this pie plate later to add completely saturated sphagnum moss to provide a greater humidity gradient. I find some prime pieces of cork bark from the shelf and wha-pow! I break it into some smaller, more usable pieces. I'm trying to create multiple areas to hide. These animals are incredibly secretive. They know if they sense danger, they have multiple areas they can get away and hide. I'm now adding the sphagnum moss I talked about earlier. These turtles cannot dry out, especially when they're young. Since I live in Arizona, I'm taking all measures necessary to make sure that does not happen. This is where everything starts coming to life. Live, hardy plants are added. Golden Pothos is always an easy option. It's incredibly resilient and can handle a lot of abuse and neglect. Next is a rubber plant, red Chinese Evergreen. Add species of the same plant to both sides of the enclosure to create more balance. I'm adding a little more substrate in the areas I find necessary. A small piece of slate is added to provide some different texture. Spray everything down thoroughly. I'm also adding some live sphagnum moss. Now that I'm finished planting, I'm going to add the cleanup crew. These tiny white ones are called springtails, and they break down mold. These larger ones are called isopods, also known as roly-polies. They break down everything else: animal waste, decaying plant matter, leaf litter, and more. Adding leaf litter was incredibly important in my mind, considering this animal is called a Vietnamese black-breasted leaf turtle. Later on, I did switch out this water bowl for something a little more shallow and accessible. Let's put the lid back on and add one of these new Zoom Edge silicone covers. This will hold in all that essential humidity I need. This is a forest floor dwelling species, so I used a shade dweller UVB from Arcadia. Unlike most turtles and tortoises, these do not thrive with high levels of UVB. This adorable baby captive bred turtle was shipped to me overnight by its breeder. These are incredibly difficult to find, as I've been looking for some for the past couple years. Working with this species has been a dream of mine for a long time, and I can't believe I finally have one. Push that subscribe button to see more reptile and amphibian content like this.